Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Steve Callaway here, Steve Callaway 1 on YouTube, and we're here with Mosart San. Mosart posted this 14 hours ago, and it is The Circle of Light by Mery Zammani Mosart. And there's a whole bunch of dots at the bottom, which means there's a lot of pages. I'm going to read it slow. Sometimes I think I talk a little too fast. In Japan, I was a student, not of color, but of the school of Buddha. Under the guidance of Tochi Yuri San, the Japanese master of silence and humility, and Matsudo San, the Korean painter, I learned that true art is born when one becomes empty of oneself, when silence becomes light. Oh, I don't like interrupting that song, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Matsudo San was a man with a calm face and eyes that glowed from within. At night he went into the streets, begging for his own food, to purify his spirit and free it from pride. One day he painted, and whatever he earned from his work, he gave it to the truly poor. Our meeting began one quiet morning in Park. I sat on the stone steps while my two little children, Sarah and Michael, played beside me. A soft spring wind danced through the trees, and I watched the leaves, thinking of distance and longing. Then I saw him, a man sitting a few steps below me, quietly drawing with a piece of charcoal on a sheet of white paper. A few passers-by had gathered around him, waiting to buy his painting. I too stopped for a moment, and in that instant, time itself stopped. This is interesting. I light a candle. Then I saw him, a man sitting a few steps below me, quietly drawing with a piece of charcoal on a sheet of white paper. A few passers-by had gathered around him, waiting to buy his painting. I, too, stopped for a moment, and in that instant, time itself stopped. Well, that's repeated, but I don't mind, because it's so interesting to me. What I saw on the paper was the face of my own childhood, so alive, so timeless, as if my soul had stepped out of the past and taken form before my eyes. In the dark. He looked up at me, his gaze deep and endless. In that single look, a world within me fell apart, and another was born. Something awoke inside me that would never sleep again. I asked the bystanders, "Who is this man?" And after many questions, I found where he lived. Each night I went to his door, knocked, and said softly, "It's me, Mary." He stayed silent and did not open the door. The shadows still dance. Went again and again until one night, in tears and prayer, a revelation came to my heart. It must no longer be me. I understood that the one at his door was not myself, it was him. I just got the chills from this. The next night I returned. I knocked again. From inside, a voice asked, "Who is standing at this door?" And I answered quietly, "You."
On the walls.
In that moment, the door opened. A soft light touched my face. Matsudo smiled and said, "Now come in, for you are a seeker." From that day, the apprenticeship began, not of the hand, but of the soul. And I learned that every signature is a wall between a human being and truth. So instead of a name, I drew a circle, the symbol of zero.
I whisper secrets to the night.
My paintings shone in great galleries, but I feared vanity, feared drifting away from truth. So even in success, I signed nothing but a circle, the mark of nothingness, because I understood. In the circle, beginning and end are one. Zero and infinity turn together in the embrace of light. This, I'm loving this.
But no one here.
And in this journey, I became nothing, nothing at all, until the very moment that nothing itself gained a signature. Not a mark of pride, but a name that came from the divine. Now this signature you see, this name you hear, it is no longer me, but the reflection of that same light shining through my being. Whew!
Is my silent cause.
The circle I once drew as a sign of absence is now alive. It breathes, it speaks, it flows. It is not I, but He within me. I hate to say wow, but what else can I say?
My hands are shaking.
And in that realization, I knew. Annihilation is not the end. It is the birth of a light that rises out of silence. Mery Zammani Mosart. Whew. I think this next clip will take us back to the beginning. The Circle of Light by Mery Zammani Mosart. This is the beginning. Wow. The more Mery writes to us, the more, and I'm sure some of you must feel similarly, all of us share a lot of things in common, actually. Probably way more in common than we have that are different. When I say all of us, I mean basically everything. Not just people, but all of existence. I've been writing a book for 5 years now. Not done yet. It's not done yet because I keep changing certain parts of it. And I believe now I have to include some of these teachings in the book because they make perfect sense for where I was going with the book when I started it 5 years ago. I didn't have a problem coming up with an ending, but where this is, where these words are, this is where it was always meant to be. That's what I believe. So now I'm a pupil again, learning about things that are inexplicable in many ways, but yet Mery does a great job explaining. She's not really explaining to us what this is, She's opening the door and allowing us to enter if we choose to, as she did. This is really profound, I think. And it actually fits perfectly with my beliefs of everything. And having died twice, I get asked all the time, did you see the light? What did you see when you died? I believe from that experience I took, there's nothing to fear. We're all going to die. Our physical bodies will all die at some point in time. But we're not gone. We become light. And we always were. Our life, our physical life, is a passing moment in infinite time. Does that mean that we should think about why are we here? I guess nothing matters if we're just here for the blink of an eye. It does matter. Because if we become all we can be, if we become the light while present here, and that light is able to be noticed by those around us, we've moved a segment of humanity to an understanding that we are all one. That's why we're never really truly gone, nor are we truly here. Sorry, I'm deeply in thought trying to come up with the right words here. Because from my death experience twice, that's kind of what I took away from it. When people say, did you see the light? If you're a Christian, you believe that the white light that you see when you're dying or die is God presenting himself to you, or you arriving at the foot of God to, I don't know, some Christians believe that you face judgment at that moment in time. Others don't believe that, but they believe that you have arrived at your final destination, and that being heaven or whatever that may be. And I can't dispute any of those beliefs, nor would I. I believe it's good to believe. No matter what you believe, I believe it's good to believe. Have some sense of purpose, some sense of maybe belonging is a better word. That we are, all of us, we're all one. We are all connected. Our planet is warmed by the sun, provides us warmth and light. In the galaxy, the latest discovery of some astronomers, they used to think there were two galaxies out there. Ours, Milky Way, and the other one I think is Andromeda, I think. And then they thought maybe there were more than that, a couple dozen. Then came a couple hundred. Now they think, now from having better telescopes and better ways of figuring things out, they think there may be as many as a couple of trillion galaxies. A galaxy being a huge incomprehensible big thing. But there is one thing, light. Light is essential for being. Light actually is being. Mery, you got me thinking. Thank you so much. When you get old like I am, sometimes you turn off the think knob and you just go into the zone. You just do what you got to do. But I like thinking. I like thinking about all the possibilities, all the things that are out there. I don't want to talk forever, but it's the little things. I met a guy at work today. Never met him before in my life. He asked me a question about one of our machines that I operate. We got into a drawn-out conversation. Imagine that, right? Me talking to somebody I don't know for forever. Of course, I worked Angelina into the conversation, and I mentioned to him that because of Angelina, and now I see because of Mery, that I had lost my faith in humanity for the most part, most of it. I kept holding on to hope, but I didn't really see any. Every time I looked, the harder I looked, the worse the outcome looked to me. I felt that our species, our animal species, human beings, was doomed to extinction for all kinds of reasons. And, you know, this does happen with species all the time, depending on your beliefs, of course. You know, evolution or whatever it might be. You know, there were dinosaurs, now there aren't any. I guess the meteor killed the dinosaurs. It's Chicxulub meteor. But that's, you know, these are all just scientific theories, I guess. There's no way to prove much of anything. But we got in a little discussion, and I said, I found this best singer I've ever heard in my life, Angelina Jordan. And the reason she's the best is that she touches my heart and my soul every time she sings. Nobody has ever been able to do that. I'll say consistently, because there have been a few moments here and there where my heart and soul were touched. But they were fleeting, and they weren't all the time. And a lot of times when they touched my heart and my soul, really, I'm not even sure if it was the singer. It was the circumstances. I think. I don't know. I've never been able to make a lot of sense of that. But I like all that Mery discovered here on this story she just told us. And it just shows her connection to everything. As we all are, but not all of us recognize that. There's an old saying, treat other people like you want to be treated. Yeah. Because it's actually you that you're treating that way. How much better than that does it get, huh? Anyway, that's too much for today. I'm sorry it takes so long talking, but it really... I find much of this to be an affirmation of what I believed for a long time. Said differently, different circumstances for Mery, but I recognize it. And I embrace it, if you will. Okay, guys. Have a great night. I hope you liked the video. I think I'm just going to do this one for tonight because I talked too much, okay? That's it. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.